A Kentucky high school senior is upset that a chickenpox outbreak sidelined his basketball season. Now he's suing his local health department. 18-year-old Jerome Kunkel refused to be vaccinated against the disease, citing his religious views. Well, last week, the health department announced all students who do not have proof of vaccination will not be allowed to return to school until 3 weeks after the last 6 student or staff members' rash started. So to avoid spreading the illness, the school's sports and extracurricular activities were just completely canceled. Kunkel says banning him from school is discrimination, but the health department says it stands by its decision. And right now, there's an online battle between two groups, people who are anti-vaxxers against vaccinating their children and parents who are for it. And the fight is actually getting pretty nasty. There have even been death threats. CNN senior medical correspondent Elizabeth Cohen is with me now, and this is so upsetting. When you're attacking a mother who has lost her 2-year-old child, that's when you know lines have been crossed.
Absolutely. I mean, we are all entitled to have our own opinions in the vaccine debate, or really about anything. But that's exactly what struck me about this story, was the cruelty of attacking a grieving mother.
When you all say the science is settled, vaccines don't cause autism, you are bearing false witness.
Extra security was on hand at this recent Centers for Disease Control meeting because anti-vaccine advocates had come to give a piece of their minds. There's a reason the CDC was worried. When doctors state the truth that vaccines save lives, some anti-vaxxers have threatened to kill them. Anti-vaxxers told Dr. Paul Offit he should be put in front of a firing squad. Dr. Peter Hotez, another vaccine expert, needs a security escort. On Facebook, anti-vaxxers called for Dr. Richard Pan, a pediatrician and California state senator, to be shot and wrote, "I hope they stone you to death." And it's not just doctors who've been attacked by anti-vaxxers. One of their targets, mothers whose children have died. Jill Promoli lost her 2-year-old son, Jude McGee, to the flu. He'd received a flu shot, but it didn't work. When she posted online about her son's death, anti-vaxxers attacked, telling her she'd caused her son's death because she gave him a flu shot. Some anti-vaxxers even went so far as to say she'd intentionally killed her son.
I got a lot of people accusing me of actually murdering Jude and using the flu as an excuse to cover up my crime.
You were called a murderer of your own child.
The first time it made me feel really sick. The idea that somebody could even suggest that I would do something that would hurt any of them.
Often these attacks are not random. So you infiltrate anti-vaccination groups?
Yes.
Erin Costello, a stay-at-home mom, uses a fake Facebook account to spy on dozens of anti-vaccination groups. When a child dies,
they ask the other group members to, come on, let's go hit them with our truth, with our information. Let's go educate them. You know, let's go harass them.
Then she warns the parents. Larry Cook, a leader of the anti-vaccine movement, says his Facebook group generates 500,000 comments per month. Any discussions about parents who lose their children after those children are vaccinated would be minor in number, he wrote. He added that anti-vaxxers get harassed by pro-vaxxers.
I'm going to put a treasure chest in the wall.
Jill Promoli says she won't let the anti-vaxxers stop her. She's launched a campaign in Jude's name to encourage people to get flu shots.
I don't want anyone to ever lose their child again.
So you're not giving up?
Absolutely not.
Oh, my heart just breaks for that mom.
Absolutely.
There. How do you police some of this misinformation online?
You know, it can be tough. Sometimes it's obvious, right? Sometimes it's just sort of looks, the sites can kind of look crazy, but some of them are smart, and so the anti-vaxxers make websites that look legit. What you want to look for is when they say information, like vaccines cause autism or cause this or that, do they give a source? And if they say, oh, a study shows, do they link to a study? Is there an actual study? Many times they just say things, and you have to ask, what is the source?
Great information, Elizabeth Cohen. Thank you so much. And my big question today, did you know you pay for everyone's right to sue if they claim to be harmed by vaccines? Here's the simple truth today. 75 cents. That's a tax you pay every time your child gets a vaccine. Have you ever heard of the National Vaccine Injury Compensation Program? Probably not. Hit up Google on this one. So it was created in 1988, and it's a program that's basically a no-fault option to traditional court for anyone who feels they were injured by certain vaccines. Essentially, this is vaccine court. So you can even argue, I was hurt by that prick in my arm. In fact, that's a lot of the argument, since it's so hard to prove scientifically that the vaccine itself is harmful. Do they win? Yeah, actually, according to the Health Resources and Services Administration, since the start of this fund, $4 billion has been paid out in settlements. And whose pocketbook does that come out of? Yours, in the form of this tax. Now listen, if you want to break down your phone bill, lots of extra charges are probably going to tick you off as well. So it's how the government works, right? And why the certainty of life are death and taxes. But consider this when deciding just how outraged that 75 cents makes you. In all of these cases, this court must decide, was it the vaccine that hurt the person involved? That's really hard to do. Actually, more than 80% of these cases are being settled without making any real conclusion about the cause of the injury. Proponents say this is actually to encourage you to get vaccines because you'll have the right, if you're injured, to sue, and to avoid our overly litigious society from being able to file those massive and costly lawsuits against manufacturers that may prevent them from making these life-saving vaccines. So part of this is the reality of how the government works. The other is how dangerous the anti-vax mentality can be, spawning frivolous lawsuits that can't be proven, so much so that the legal system had to designate a special court to manage it. And that's the simple truth.